Hello, and welcome to The Ticket, the podcast where we dive into the future of customer service and support. I'm Bobby Stapleton, Senior Director of Human Support here at Intercom. In today's episode, we're tackling one of the hottest topics in customer service, choosing the right AI agent for your team. Joining us is Harry Spence, Director of Customer Support at ScreenCloud. Harry brings years of experience in digital transformation and operational excellence. Today, we'll discuss how to make the right AI agent choice, what to consider when selecting a solution, and lastly, ScreenCloud's plans for implementing AI to deliver proactive customer support. Harry, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bobby. Good to be here.
So to start, can you give us an overview of ScreenCloud's customer support strategy? How did the decision to explore an AI agent kind of fit into your overall strategy?
Yeah, good question. We've worked quite hard the last few months refining our sort of overall support and CS strategy. You mentioned one in the intro there, operational excellence. The other three, not sure how much is give away here, so tricks of the trade. Technology, operational excellence, people, and customer community. So we spent a lot of time on that, which was really exciting. I think naturally as a business to business SaaS company, we have the technology part down, especially for, really good tech stacks, integrations, internal triggers, stuff like that. AI agent we haven't brought in yet, but obviously we've chosen Finn. I think it's an expectation really now in online e-commerce, any online presence that you have some sort of self-serve. But I think I'm a big believer in customers now have switched. I think when AI agents come out, there was a lot of hesitation from people around them. They want to use AI, want to talk to a human. Where now the goalposts have shifted. It's all about convenience for people now. They want an answer and they want the lathe. So AI and a bot is a big part of that. So we've spent a lot of the last couple of months working to make sure it's the right fit for our business and it's going to serve our purpose. And it's not just about the customer facing element. I think it's a lot about how it advises and it empowers the customer support reps too to give the right answer. And I think Finn's a great choice for that. So
Love that. Love to hear it. And I think you're totally right. Like, just like Amazon's like 2-day delivery, like it started out as this like surprise and delight element to the experience. And now it's like just the expectation. And I think, like you said, having a way to self-serve, having an AI agent there to help out is like very quickly will be, if you don't have that, customers are going to be kind of pissed. So.
Yes, absolutely.
So when great to hear you're thinking about that you're using Finn AI agent. Like when thinking about finding a tool, like what were some of the things you were taking into consideration?
I think the minimum requirements that anybody should look for is that it integrates with your current tech stack. I think what we were looking at that we really wanted an omni-channel experience over multi-channel, just because it's a better agent experience, which makes it better for the customers. But the integration is really important for us. We have a really good tech stack, but selecting the right one has to work with that, not just to serve customers with the right information and give agents a really good stab at giving the customers good experience. I think it's all about the roadmap. If it doesn't integrate with your current systems, where are you going to go? Where's it going to go in the future? How are you going to make constant evolvements? And that was a really important part of our journey, was selecting that. Integrates with Salesforce, our voice system, Aircall, our billing system, ChargeBee. For me though, this is slightly away from AI agent. The proactive support is what really sold it for me. I'm really trying to make a move away from, the standard customer service of just reacting to issues and giving customers something that they don't know they need. If somebody's trying to do a really amazing dashboard and it doesn't work because it can be quite complex, we can immediately trigger that proactive support to go in there and get them over the line. And it's not just about self-service as well. It's them getting the maximum out of the product too, which also benefits us.
So, and cool to hear that, yeah, like you had this specific goal of like, yeah, fitting with your tech stack, also making sure they could do practice support and really, yeah, that like kind of long-term vision for it all. So, I mean, thinking about setting up, implementing AI agents, it can be like a complex process. So like talk us through your planning, your consideration for, getting everything set up.
Yeah, obviously it had to be data and security compliant. It was SOC 2, ISO 27001, whatever it is. That's the minimum sort of requirements from that point of view. Obviously the tech stack we talked about has to have really good integrations, has to be a good agent experience. It has to have a lot of customizable features. But I think for Finn, I've trialed a couple of bots where it's, I don't want to say the word robotic because that seems obvious, but for AI, the trick for me is you don't want people to feel like they're speaking to a robot. And AI should feel like you're actually speaking to a human. That's the trick with it, I think, and that really builds sort of the brand loyalty, that sort of retention that keeps coming back. But it has to be customizable. If it was one a bot that just feeds off one source. Um, like we want to make it really dynamic where it feeds off multiple sources, or if somebody mentions a trigger word, we have a completely separate flow that goes into more detail. A lot of bots really don't offer that. It's very one dimensional. Um, with Fin, it can be loaded from multiple sources. It breaks it down step by step. It doesn't just return a help article, which can obviously annoy people. Make it seem like it's very robotic. So with Fin, that's what sold us on the bot journey too, was the ability to customize it, dynamic flows, and some of the stuff on our roadmap will be more self-service, but we'll integrate charge B, billing queries, subscription queries. We also sell hardware as well.
Okay.
Through a 3PL. So we want to do some manual integration there so customers can talk to the bot about their hardware order because it goes all over the world. I think that's important. And a lot of bots really don't offer that, but Fin does.
And it sounds like, yeah, since you were considering a few different bots, like tell us a little bit about like what those like pilot programs or like test programs you ran. And like, yeah, I'm sure people that are in this discovery phase will find this really helpful.
Yeah, so we went through building a bot with another vendor maybe 3 months ago or so. And the experience was very antiquated or suboptimal is some nice words we'll try and use it. But yeah, it just, like I said, it was very one dimensional. It just returned help articles, and not even nice looking help articles, just links. But I think it doesn't take in consideration the customer's journey. Like a customer could have came from the help center to the bot.
That's like infuriating there.
Yeah, and you're giving them the same answer, so it's really not a good experience. Um, Probably on a side note from me, I think I'm a big believer in taking your time and releasing something that you're proud of, you're confident in, rather than just releasing something for the sake of it. And I think with a bot or AI or virtual assistant, whatever you want to call it, you really only get one shot. The customers at it. Once they use it once and it's really poor, they're not going to use it again. They might go somewhere else. So you need to have a product that you truly believe in and you think is going to make a difference, not just deflect contacts away because you want to, save costs. It has to be for a bigger purpose, and that's to make sure your customers have the convenience to get what they want and get out. And obviously always have the option to speak to a human because you don't want to be obstructive. And just feel with Fin, it's very customizable to our use case, our business needs. And once I've sort of seen the trial of it, done a bit of testing myself, aesthetically, it's very pleasing too. The carousel, I don't know if it's the right terminology, but I'll just say carousel. Like you have a help center built in, you can build your status pages in it. You can, proactively tell customers if any elements of your product's down. And I guess it's not really live chat, it's really become asynchronous messenger.
Yeah.
That's where I liked about it. I think live chat's maybe phasing out a wee bit, and I think it'll be replaced by asynchronous messaging. So I think the whole Intercom experience is maybe a wee bit ahead of the rest of the industry. So yeah, I sort of went off on a tangent there, but I feel like, yeah.
No, it's good. And especially like, we've been talking a lot about how that idea of having an AI agent, like they're there immediately, they're doing that like almost instant, like they're doing the instant, almost like real-time chat element that used to be handled by maybe like a tier 1 team or
Yeah.
you staff a real-time inbox. And now it's like, yeah, Finn's doing all that. And so what is coming through, like, yeah, maybe you can have someone trying to do it in real time, but it does end up probably being more asynchronous because it's the complex, the tricky stuff that might need that like board back and forth. And so having something that can cater and adjust to all of that, I'm glad it was a good fit for you.
Yeah, I don't really think it's a live chat. Another element of live chat is you're under pressure on a live chat session. You can't close the window, you can't minimize it, you can't lock your phone, or you can't close your desktop, you can't walk away. That's pressure for people. Like I think even now when you have to phone the bank or your insurance company, like, oh, I've got to spend 20 minutes at a phone call here, and it's exactly the same with live chat. People don't want to have to switch off from everything else going on in their life for 20 minutes to
Yeah.
get connected, wait and explain. They just want to send a message, put their phone back in the pocket and go about their lives. So, and that's where Fin or Intercom stood out for us because it's not a live chat session, it's asynchronous. And again, probably a separate part of our roadmap, probably early next year, we want to integrate WhatsApp and SMS too. Just open up more channels for us. So that's definitely roadmap too. So that was an important consideration.
And obviously I'm biased, but like here's one of the benefits of us having been building this entire like platform versus trying to like acquire companies, hack it all together. But yeah, it's like you have out there. So I want to touch on, you mentioned security earlier, just like that obviously being an important part of like any tech stack consideration. How did that weigh in? Was that something like you were tasked with really owning as the support leader? Were you working with your security team? Like what did that part of the process look like?
I guess it was pretty easy for me because I know what to look for, just embedding other third-party tools and vendors and stuff. I know what to look for. We're SOC 2 compliant, so I know there's bare minimums that we need. Intercom's page on security was very detailed, so it was very easy for me to find what I needed. I think the secure storage, data retention policies, the way the whole customer information, um, not learning off our customer data is important
Yeah.
too. So it learns off the customer ratings. There's machine learning, there's intent. If the customer gives it a thumbs down, it learns, or it doesn't help, it learns. And it's important it doesn't train off our actual own customer data, which is an important consideration. Um, yeah, and it has all the ISO fancy words after its certifications. Yeah, so I'm pretty well versed at that, but we have a pretty good business case internal processes at ScreenCloud where before it goes anywhere, the security guys and the legal team will be all over that. So yeah, that was a swift process on my end.
Well, and yeah, probably helpful to the listeners, watchers to hear again. It's like this doesn't have to be this like big scary part of like going down this road. Like it's something that can get done. So
Yeah.
you mentioned before the impact of really wanting to have like some control for like tone and voice, something that would really kind of match ScreenCloud's brands. Tell us a bit more about that. Like, what were you kind of looking for, and how have you been able to, yeah, so think about AI agents really, yeah, fit those needs.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm a big believer in tone of voice. I just think you can really set your company apart just by a tone of voice, and put a really unique touch on it. Like if you were to have 5 anonymous emails, you should be able to say that's ScreenCloud or that's Microsoft or that's whoever it is
Yeah,
by that tone of voice. Now that's a lot easier when you're marketing and you get to do your amazing marketing video and stuff. When it comes to customer support, it's a bit more tricky. But when I was doing the process for Intercom and Fin, one part I picked out was the URLs. It scrapes your URLs and sort of matches the tone of voice. That was quite important to me. Um, but you also have this feature in Fin where you can choose the personality type,
yeah.
which is really interesting. So I'm looking forward to testing out the humorous personality of Finn to see what that's like. Um, but in ScreenCloud, again, naturally being business to business SaaS, our product and our terminology can be really deep. So naturally, we try to be very informative, but universify our language because you can get into all sorts of abbreviations and fancy tech terms. So we really try and universify our language because not everybody who's uses ScreenCloud is going to be an IT or tech genius. We need to make it accessible for people. So that's what we're aiming for. We do still have a bit of work to go in support for tone of voice. And that's what we're going to try and successfully, obviously, train Finn on. Like our help center, we're migrating our help center over to Finn. We'll have some custom snippets documentation, and that will really capture our tone. And testing the Finn, it is definitely picking up that universified language, which is good.
And when you're doing all that testing, is that like, do you have like a dedicated operations person driving that? Is that you? Someone in your team who's raised your hand? Like,
Yeah, it'd be me and my team.
okay.
I'll be doing the testing. But what I think is really important is, which we've just started this week, is I've gave like engineers, apps team and ScreenCloud access to the test and sandbox version of Fin. And I want them to all go test it because you're going to have thousands of customers who all have different expectations. Um, expect something different when you ask questions. So it's really important to get a lot of people in testing it. Not just so it learns, but so they can give you feedback on this answer. You need to improve this part of your answer, or maybe update your help center, this wasn't right, or you should have a custom flow for this. So I think it's really important when you're testing, it's not just support, you get the more technical people on it too,
Yeah.
even marketing to see if it's matching what they're expecting. Um, just want to make sure when we go live with MVP or go live, whatever you want to call it, that it's a really refined product and we're not catching our tails when it comes to, we need to improve this. It's already done before we release it. So
And that's like just really good advice of like getting the whole company bought in. Like this doesn't have to be some support team side project, like it's, and when we were first launching Fin, this was a couple years ago, like we had the entire product team like go help write the help center content. Was like, hey, like we want this AI agent to work. It's only going to work if the help center content's there. Like if you manage this part of the product, like let's chime in, have you fill that in, let's all test it together. And like I think that's an exciting part of like this like transformation we're going through right now.
Yep.
That sounds really. Let's talk a little bit about like getting everything set up with your tech stack. So you mentioned using Salesforce, and what were some of the challenges or things that were the main priorities as you were getting Fin set up and integrated with your tech stack?
Um, Gonna be honest, wasn't many issues to the right. So I've integrated with Salesforce. We just need a bit of help from the data team to map some custom fields and stuff across, which will be fine. Um, our main tech stack integrates with all of Intercom. So we have our call for voice that goes in. Our QA system ScoreBuddy also integrates natively with Salesforce and Intercom, so we can set up really good rules to QA cases from Intercom, Messenger, WhatsApp, SMS, whatever it will be. Such makes our life so much easier. GitHub as well, our internal ticketing system, works with Intercom too. So I think it's just going to be a real seamless agent experience too, which means the customer journey is just going to be that much better, because if the agents are equipped, the customers are then going to benefit from that. So it's been pretty seamless so far. I don't really see any stumbling blocks there, and that's interesting. I think for Fin, Copilot, we've also linked it up to our internal documentation on Notion, and it's starting to really sync and give us some really good answers in that. Yeah, that's quite exciting. We've been testing some really complicated answers on Power BI, Tableau, dashboards. We've 80 app integrations too, so it'll be quite complex. And we've got a really good thumbs up from the engineers and apps team so far. So
That's awesome.
that's going well. Yep.
Yeah, and for anybody watching, we have like our Fin AI agent that's like the AI side for customer facing, and then Fin AI Copilot for your internal teammates and having access to that stuff that maybe you don't want customers to see, but you want your teammates to have it while going through the inbox. Like really cool. That's working out for you guys too. So yeah, next thing I wanted to ask about, like you talked about obviously wanting this to be like a great customer experience. Like how have you thought about rolling this out to customers? And like you said, you only get one shot at it. So what's been the strategy there?
Yeah, I think I touched on some already, but strenuously testing it inside ScreenCloud's obviously going to big part of it. Making sure it's getting the right answers. So yeah, the engineering team, support team, apps team, they're all working to assist with that, note down any feedback, make some changes. We're also probably going to explore a lot of internal automations as well, just for the agents before we go live. Want to have some really cool automations on Zapier, Slack, all that sort of stuff, just to really drive down on wait times on Messenger, stuff like that. We'll probably do all that. CSAT should be set up, internal reporting suite. Again, from like minute one to go live, we want to be measuring impact and success, how it's performing, not chasing it down the line. So there'll probably be a lot of testing, but when we're happy with that testing, we'll have some team sessions, so brainstorming. There'll be a lot of good documentation on Notion, obviously, some instructional videos and best practices, and we will make everybody go through Intercom University.
Oh, nice.
I think at ScreenCloud, we pride ourselves on being like product experts, but that goes with the technology we also use too. So we want everybody in support to be an expert in Intercom, Salesforce. So yeah, it'll be a good process.
Final question. What advice would you give to any other support leaders who are thinking about going down this road, thinking about tackling this sometime this year? Like, yeah, what advice would you give?
My advice would be don't implement AI just for the sake of it. I think it's obviously a massive asset to any business having AI, but I think you'd rather take your time and get the right product and the right fit for your business rather than rush into something. There's a lot of AI and a lot of products out there that can easily mislead you. So obviously, depending on your budget and your tech stack, you want to get something that's top tier, integrates with your tech stack, and is going to benefit your customers and your agents. I'd mentioned on omni-channel experience. I think everybody should aim for an omni-channel experience where you can. Like no agent, support rep, or whatever wants to navigate through 6 or 7 different systems, get an answer. You really want to have a single customer view, a one-stop shop. That's what you really should be aiming for. But the AI, I think I probably said earlier, it needs to be customizable to your business and your customers. You don't want something one-dimensional that just feeds, the same thing. You need something you can really harness and develop and continuously improve over time. Um, and that's why I think a lot of leaders in the industry and companies, when they put something new in, like a bot or some new technology, they spend all this time on the roadmap implementing it. And then when it's live, it's, feet up, cup of tea,
Yeah.
job's done. And it's not, the journey's just beginning. I think a lot of people are missing that continuous improvement piece. So with your AI, you need to have some really good reporting tools on measuring success. And it's probably a good idea to have somebody dedicated just to that. If we take Intercom or Fin, I'll have somebody dedicated that's always reviewing the performance of Fin, the CSAT from messages, the help center articles, how they're getting viewed, how they're getting used. I think it's really important that you have somebody on top of that, and it's not just, kick the feet up party time of the bot. It needs to be a continuous process. Um, the last bit of advice would probably be keep ahead of industry trends. Um, Everybody's evolving at such a fast pace. There's always new trends, new systems, new this coming out. You need to make sure that your AI, your bot, or your technology, whatever it is, has potential to integrate further. There's always a new gimmick or trend around the corner. You need to stay on top of that to make sure you're top of your game. So with Fin and Intercom, there's so many integrations in the top tier tech stack. We just think there's so much we can do in the next coming years. So our roadmap's filling up pretty quickly.
It's filling up a guard. Yeah. Yeah. And last question, like, has your team been excited about it? Was there any sort of like change management or buy-in that you or the rest of the leaders were thinking about?
Yeah, I think there was quite a lot of buy-in from a number of different teams, especially like our pro serve and our marketing teams are quite excited about Intercom as well because we're really focused on retention. It's obviously far cheaper to keep and expand your existing base rather than get new ones, your SEO and all that sort of pay for all that sort of natural traffic. Um, and we're using a lot of elements, onboarding, proactive support, really take customers through, get them to utilize the product more. So there's been a lot of buy-in from around the company and not just support. I think in the support world, we need to open up more channels. We've really only had email and voice for a long time, and we need to really evolve and push through. I just think it was a no-brainer, especially for supporting around the business, that we get something in, but it had to be the right choice. We don't want to rush into a decision and get a tool that isn't going to really improve your experience. It's just going to be another row on a spreadsheet of finance.
Yeah.
You need something that makes a real impact, and we just think with Intercom and Fin, we're going to get that. Even at first look with Intercom, it's it's nice looking, it's slick, it's modern looking. So even taking people through the test and sandbox version, it's quite eye capturing, and it's a lot better than what we've had previously. So exciting.
Yeah, I take for granted that, our teammates are like spending, 40 hours a week in this tool, wanting that to be a good experience. Like you said, having it consistently, across all the channels, across the board and bringing them along the journey. So really great advice. Awesome. Well, Harry, thanks so much for joining us today. And we will talk to you next time.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Just before we go, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter at inter.com/newsletter to stay up to date with the latest trends in customer service and support. And make sure to check out our sister podcast, Intercom on Product, for insights into product development and product design. You can find it on your preferred podcast platform or by visiting inter.com/productpodcast. You'll find all the links in the episode description. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time on The Ticket.